Eat. Mutate. Mate. Repeat. Once beautiful wildlands, bursting with colorful creatures. Now, drab and lifeless, ravaged by the colorless. These sleek, lusterless beasts feast on colored prey, concentrating their power into raw meat, draining the vibrance from the wilds they inhabit. You play as a mysterious stranger, perhaps born from the wild, perhaps born from color itself, perhaps born from a desire to restore balance. As the protagonist, your consciousness persists through all of your evolutions. A singular mission propels you forward. Consort with the consummate, and defeat the king-killer Cubivore. A bizarre premise, for perhaps an even more bizarre game. Originally, Cubivore began development on an ill-fated N64 accessory, the Nintendo 64DD. Due to the technology's failure, production moved to the Gamecube, eventually finding a release in 2002. The result is a wholly unique and one-of-a-kind Gamecube exclusive. From the graphics, to the story, to the gameplay, every piece of it feels like a strange, polygonal fever dream. The crux of the game is found in its elaborate mutation system. You start with a single limb. Eating color will mutate you into a new form with unique stats, movement patterns, attack and defense styles. Every form has its own peculiar and often quirky name, befitting of its shape. 5 distinct color families define overarching traits and limitations. Each one brings their own advantages and disadvantages. Mixing and matching color intensities gives rise to more combinations. The more intense the color, the more powerful the form. This creates a combined total of a staggering 150 possible unique mutations. The bosses too have their own forms and names to go with them. Defeating bosses grants you their slice of raw meat, unlocking new abilities, and opening the mating grounds. Each subsequent offspring you produce is granted an additional limb. Along with this new limb comes a new variety of forms and playstyles. Flying, sprinting, hurling yourself around the map becomes the norm as you dive deeper into the game. Less limbs? Play conservatively and don't bite off more than you can chew. More limbs? Attack aggressively, but also thoughtfully, in order to collect as many mutations as possible. Minigames scattered throughout allow you to increase your character's inherent stat traits. This variety makes the gameplay unique and varied for a time, but it is best enjoyed in bursts. Long play sessions are prone to making the game feel repetitive and somewhat monotonous. The camera controls are hackneyed and annoying due to its port from the original N64C buttons. These issues combined hampered the game's ability to capture critically favorable reviews and a more widespread audience. Gameplay aside, maybe the most bizarre parts of the game come from the writing, found in its interlude moments. Appearing at rest and at the end of levels, they reveal fragments of the underlying, overarching philosophical themes behind the Cubivore world. Boss-tier enemies are colorless with sleek, metallic finishes, reminiscent of the cold, heartless industry and technology they portray. In quiet moments, the protagonist waxes philosophically, Becoming ever wilder and less controlled, he comes to understand his true goal is to not only restore color and wild to the wilderness, but also himself. At its best, Cubivore is a game that forces the player to think on their feet and evolve with purpose. The gameplay encourages you to think and react quickly to an ever-changing landscape. Let go of your attachment to your current form, and always be seeking the next evolution. It's a shame that Cubivore never received widespread critical acclaim or attention. It genuinely feels like it brought something wholly unique and interesting to the gaming landscape, especially for its time. While certainly imperfect, it had uncommon, underutilized gameplay mechanics that formed this eclectic blend of puzzle, RPG, and action elements. Playing it today, it feels like it was simultaneously ahead of and behind its own time. Simple polygonal graphics didn't wow people like the blockbusters of its own era, but now, similar graphics are found in the best-selling game of all time. Its mishmash of gameplay styles makes it feel like an innovative, modern-day indie sleeper. If only it hadn't been plagued by control and pacing issues, and had the marketing budget to reach a larger audience. Maybe it could have been the start of a fresh and exciting franchise. Instead, it fell by the wayside, relegated to being simply a quirky footnote in Nintendo's long history of forgotten titles. But then again, if it was successful, I probably wouldn't have made this video about it. I'm Tim, and these are my thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.